On this week's episode of An Echo of Glory, we've got two wins to talk about, Coventry and Brentford, and we look ahead to the Europa League against Qarabag. Welcome to another episode of An Echo of Glory. Joining me this week, Jake Sanders. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. And Gary Diamond. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Are we chipper this morning?
We are chipper.
Should we tell them what's been happening? We've been arguing a lot, haven't we?
Not arguing. We have a differing of opinions.
Yeah.
And we're quite forthright in how we feel.
Well, we love each other.
Yeah, we do.
All right. We won a football match, so this is going to be a good pod. Well, we've got to talk about a defeat. I wouldn't let us not talk about us losing, but we will talk about us winning.
Two wins, actually, we've got to talk about.
Oh, sorry. In my head, we lost to Coventry. I genuinely just we've got a defeat to talk about.
Wait, I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Sorry, we beat Coventry.
Yeah.
It felt like a defeat.
Even after it felt like a defeat.
We've got to talk about a defeat now because we'll start with club news. The 21s have got two defeats to talk about. They lost to Valencia in the Premier League International Cup, whatever that is, before a 4-1 home defeat to Fulham. Fulham were good.
Is this naturally going to happen now with, Mikey Moore?
Yeah, we were told, weren't we?
Coming out.
There's been a lot of changes.
Donley's on loan.
Yeah.
Dorrington hasn't yet played, I think. They went 1-0 up.
Lancashire just came back, didn't they?
And Lancashire hasn't been in. So there's been a lot of changes. It is what it is. It's a natural sort of,
Under 18s drawing 3-0 at Southampton. When I say 3-0 at Southampton,
What did Conte?
it's like, don't like that.
They were 2-0 up at half time. And
They being Spurs or they being Southampton?
Spurs, under 18s, were 2-0 up at half time. Southampton, I think, pulled it back to 2-2. And then Tottenham grabbed a 3-2 lead, I think going into the 90th minute. And Southampton equalised on the 96th minute.
Very much like that Conte game.
Yeah, well, did the manager afterwards throw them all under the bus? Or was it okay?
Not sure what happened, but
And the women, they got their season off to a great start by beating newly promoted Palace 4-0. A debut goal for Hayley Rasso.
Yep.
Fourth goal was great goal.
Was
Oh,
that?
did you see it? I haven't seen it.
Amazing goal.
Who was that? Spence?
No, not Spence. The goal after, I'm not sure.
Your mate Jess Nars on the score sheet.
Just Naz was on the score sheet, yeah. So it was Razzo on the 19th, and then 3 goals second half. Naz 53, Spence 76. You're right, and
Artinen, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. In the top corner, great goal.
Okay, that's a good win. And Palace will struggle this year, but good to put them away. Before we talk about the men's team, I'm being told by the producer I have to mention our socials. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at EOGTHFC, on TikTok at Echoes, ECHOES THFC. And we are now, as we've said a few weeks in a row now, you can become an Echo of Glory member. So do that. If you've already subscribed, it's next to the join button. If you haven't subscribed, why not do that and become a member? Thanks to those who have done so and continue to do so. We really appreciate it. Join the Echo community. Got some great stuff, and there will be more great stuff coming in our members area. Jake Robson won't let me say members zone. Don't know why.
Why?
Don't know. He just hates
Members area.
He hates the word members zone.
Okay.
So for Jake Robson, there's some great stuff in our members zone. So do that. Let's talk about the men's team. We'll chat about Coventry because we haven't had a pod since. I mean, that was like every away Europa League and League Cup performance in the last 5 years. But
yeah, we got through
unlike some of those performances, we got through it.
I think there's some interesting things here.
I know you do.
I do. And I just want to quickly touch on him, right? Like, I think Ange deserves a lot of criticism because and praise, actually. So I think it goes both ways here. What frustrates me is that Ange, in the lead up to the game, was talking about this being an opportunity for minutes for players that haven't yet had minutes. And he referenced that they haven't had minutes because the Premier League games hadn't quite gone as he had hoped to this point. So he hadn't been able to bring them on. And that to me is like a little bit of naivety because in your first 4 Premier League games, as it was at the time, you've got Arsenal at home and Newcastle away, and you're playing on the first game away to Leicester, newly promoted on a Monday evening under the lights. Did you imagine that we were going to be 3 or 4 up in each of them games to give these guys minutes? How did you think that was going to play out? And the other thing that bothers me about it is if these are guys that he has got a lot of trust and faith in, they're going to learn a hell of a lot more under stress and pressure than they are coming on at 2 or 3-0. It's not as though the results were so much more positive through them not coming on and not getting those minutes. So actually send them on, tell them to be brave, tell them it's not on you, whatever happens, and let them go and get that experience. And when what happens is, then when you do throw a team together, and we've seen that performance, as you mentioned, so many times, Europa Conference League, Europa League, early rounds of cups, and we often thought, it's because the second team's just crap and they haven't got the players. It's quite clear that actually, if they're not getting minutes and you're not fusing as a team, you haven't got that cohesion, it's very hard. That's what pre-seasons are for, right? Pre-seasons are there to do exactly that. And then suddenly we're throwing these guys into a team and it doesn't look quite right. The counter argument is, well, Coventry played their second string and they look much better. Maybe so, but I'm just talking about us. And I just sort of feel like Ange made a rod for his own back there. And we saw what happens when players don't get minutes and don't have the chance to bed into the team. On the flip side, unlike a lot of those performances that we've seen in the past, as bad as we were in the past, I'd have been resigned. I knew it was coming. We weren't getting back into it. It was done, finished, another crap, embarrassing performance, and we're bowing out of another
I was
cup.
definitely resigned.
I wasn't, because in my head was always, with the way that this team plays and with the way that Ange wants them to play, there's always an opportunity for them to just click and get a goal.
So you thought we'd score and lose on penalties?
Yeah, but I think the other positive thing is Jed Spence. Okay, he made an error for their goal. Fair enough.
He wasn't the only one.
No, he wasn't the only one. But then what happened for our goal was it had Ange ball all over it. It was an inverted fullback coming into midfield. What I really liked, actually, people talk about his run into the box. What I really liked was that he clearly wanted to play the ball out wide Son, and that would have been an understandable ball to make, like force the issue. He didn't force it. The ball wasn't on.
Do you think that? I think he told Son to go out there because I'm going to give Spence credit here. I think he may have seen two passes ahead. I think he thought, if I get Son out there, I can go in there.
Maybe so, but however it is, right, it looked to me like he was looking for Son, wanted to play it, and I was screaming, don't play it, because it wasn't on. And he had the composure. He had the composure, and you could have understood why he might have played it. A young lad coming in, wants to get Son in, like a bit of a desperation ball. But he played the percentage ball, knocked it back, and then the move from there, bang, bang,
Which is
bang.
why I think he asked Son to disappear, because he knew the space was available.
Maybe so, but it was brilliant all round. It was an Ange ball goal, and that's where Ange has to have credit, I think. It was a very good goal. And for me, it was always a case of, unlike those other crap performances that we've seen, and we were just dead, there was nothing there. With this team, I think it was Darren Bent or somebody else, one of our other guests said, Spurs are never out of it, but it only takes a second for them to click and boom, goal. And that's what happened. So
I agree with that in a sense that we've, that Pacos Ferreira, all these crappy games we've lost away where you just think we could play for 3.5 hours.
I do completely get that. You're completely right. But during the moment, I did not see us. We didn't have a chance in the game. I didn't see it coming. I understand what you're saying completely.
Madison came on and changed the tempo, and we did.
I actually thought it was Kulusevski changed the tempo more so.
We seem
Madison.
to have that one chance that Kulu had, which he actually had a similar one against Brentford, where it sort of dropped him in the box on his left foot, and he hammered it to the keeper. And then I thought, that's the chance gone. But yeah, I think fair play. They got through. That's ultimately all that matters.
The other disappointment for me in that Coventry game. And it's a weird one because against Brentford, maybe because we were comfortably in the lead, he brought Moore on. But why bring Werner on ahead of Moore?
Yeah, Werner was
in
bad.
Coventry.
Wow.
And Werner was really bad. He was really bad. And I think we've got to be at a point where, look, whatever the reasons behind the Werner loan, I was kind of behind it when it happened. But then we signed Odegaard and Moore's coming through, and I'm a little bit like,
they signed him so early.
He looks so resigned, Werner, as well.
What, to like his career, just
his
being
body language and his attitude is just sort of like. He'll start on Thursday probably against Qarabag. It just seems like this is where I'm at now. Come on in the league. As I said, I didn't see the Arsenal game because I was away, but I assume he came on for the last 10 minutes. And
I don't think he did come on.
To be honest,
he did come on. He did. He replaced Madison.
Oh, he did. And he hit that
Madison.
really bad crossfield pass. He did, yeah.
Yeah, and it just seems like he's so resigned. That's what I am. I'm going to play in the Europa League. I come on. Don't really make much of it. He didn't come on Saturday.
It's not a sign that makes sense. And this is what I go back to, right? Like against Arsenal, we're 1-0 down. You've got the choice. You can send on Werner or you can send on Moore. Probably the outcome is going to be the same. But what if Moore does something and creates a goal out of nothing?
Yeah.
Because he has that. His career trajectory, his confidence, his whole being skyrockets. If Werner creates a goal, it doesn't really do anything for his career, for us or anything like that. So the risk reward for Ange to bring on Moore in that game and give those minutes under stress, under pressure. That's the point I was making earlier. That was the naivety, and that's what bothers me about the Coventry performances. Ange talks about having a brave team, progressive, and so on and so forth. but he's not showing that in his selections, and that's why that Coventry performance happened.
And Spence not in. It comes back to the Spence not in the Europa League team, which is just bonkers.
Yeah. Again, we spoke about this. I think we spoke a lot about Forster. I can't get my head around how Austin
Forster was awful.
Terrible.
Both
But
our
again,
keepers at the
but
moment
again,
are
that's the
shockers.
first game he's played in a year. If we're going to mitigate for him, and we should.
I thought the stick towards Forster was slightly harsh. I don't think you know
he was bad.
No. As in, no. He was shocking against Coventry, but before that, I was fine with Forster. There was a case in that first season under Conte that Forster was our best signing.
Well,
obviously now it's different with Ange. I completely understand that. As a goalkeeper, he's fine.
I agree with you. I actually like Forster as a shot stopper and as a keeper. I don't think he's bad.
Can't play with his feet.
No,
Jesus.
he can't.
But
the stick started in the Fulham away penalty shootout where like he just couldn't.
But now I agree. If we could make a change, especially as now we've lost Odegaard for probably half the group as well.
So let me ask you this: the last time we were on together, we were talking about the Europa League squad, and you said it's got to be Forster because can you imagine like Austin away at Ibrox or something like that? I'm of the view I just don't think Austin could be any worse.
Well, he won't be.
than
He couldn't be
Forster.
worse than that.
Right.
He couldn't be worse than that.
And I see like Spence, and this is the other thing as well, right? Is it's clear that with the selection of the squad, he's looking at Gray as sort of covering right back, and it's a little bit like Gray is going to be a midfielder. So let's get him into that position.
Yeah.
And you've got Spence there. Let's get Spence into the position where he's going to play for us. It just seems so bad all round. So the question to you, having seen the Coventry game,
I'd swap it just because of the combination of the both.
Yeah.
Spence having a really good game and Forster ironically in the same game,
having a shocker.
which was quite
Okay,
we agree.
and also the left back position as well.
Yeah.
Spence was playing left back.
Well, he is now our left back cover, it seems.
And this
Like,
is
I'd honestly say, if Dogie gets injured in training tomorrow, Spence would start at United.
yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd go Davis.
No, I don't think
Davis
he would.
wasn't in.
Which
I
is
don't know whether
mad to
Davis was
think.
injured. Davis wasn't in the squad.
Which is
Saturday.
mad to think that he's basically he's our second choice left back, but he's not in a 25-man squad.
But this is interesting, right? Davies wasn't in the squad on Saturday, and this is what I was saying about the Europa League squad. Was I felt that with Gray that can cover at centre back as well as Dragushin, actually the players that could have dropped out could have been one of Forster, Werner, or Davies.
Davies is always playing in the Europa League. He's going to play centre half in the Europa
I'm
League.
saying
He'll
Davies
captain.
is probably the last one to drop out, but he wasn't in the squad on Saturday.
weird.
Right?
Do you know who I'd rather drop out than any of them? Van der Ven. I'd rather have
Like do a Cole Palmer and just say,
you know, not interested.
I think you might need him
I'm
back
not
then.
saying that will happen, but because him and Romero, I'd
Well, it won't happen after
imagine will
January,
probably play the 3 or 4. You know, he might just say, "Look, I'm going to play you against Roma. I'm going to play you against Rangers." But yeah, I wouldn't have been totally against that. Just sacking him off for the whole group.
But I think what it shows,
It's not a group.
what it shows,
league.
and I think most Spurs fans would be in agreement, is Spence should have been in that Europa League squad. And it also, you know, I just thought Spence, Kulusevski, Maddison came out of that Coventry game. They're the only ones that came out with any credit. And you can talk about, people go, it's easy when somebody scores a goal. It wasn't about the goal. Spence's whole performance was really positive. Made the error for the goal that we conceded. Mitigate. He's playing at left back, not his natural position. Should still, as a defender, cover that run.
But he took Udogie off on.
I think that
half-time.
must have been premeditated.
No, he didn't. So I was going to say he took. Sorry, I was jumping into Brentford. I thought he took Udogie off. He didn't. So
That was premeditated, 100%.
yeah, against
Because
Coventry,
he was
yeah.
like, it was one of those, whatever the score is, we're just going to get 45 minutes, which is weirder that he didn't start Spence. But just quickly on that, again, I know it was Coventry, lower league. I thought Kulu came on and it was like a Sunday league game where your mates turned up late and the best players turned up late and he just came on and he said, it's fine, I got this. Because he single-handedly won us that game.
Yes.
I know he didn't score. He set the first one up, but he was absolutely brilliant. Still want more from his end product, but he is really, really playing right at the top of his game now.
Yep.
Seriously, seriously good at the moment. And I think now he's a centre midfielder. He's a
We
number
always
10,
thought
whatever.
that was the case,
He
didn't we?
is.
Though, well, we didn't.
I
think...
wasn't sure, but he's. I know he actually did finish the game against Brentford on the right, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because Johnson came off, but he's a central player now. I don't think there's, you know, I know every time we start this, you hear the commentators go, "Oh, Spurs have gone with this really attack." That's the team now. Maddison and Kulu, they are the two.
But I think Kulusevski in there as well, and this was another point that we were making. Kulusevski in there, I think, gives Maddison more space because you can't press onto Maddison as being the only creator and leaving Sarr there. I feel like teams leave Sarr. Like, it's fine. Like every now and then he might do something, but Kulusevski is such a big, strong ball carrier, creates space with he occupies players, and it just means that it's so much harder for them to close Maddison. You saw the benefit of that against Brentford, where Maddison might drop a bit deeper.
That's what I was going to say. That's my only worry. There was a few times, especially in the Arsenal game, you see Maddison on the halfway line when we're on the edge of their box. I don't want that. But the run, as you say, the third goal, the first goal, even the second goal, he was, as we're going to talk about in a minute.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's talk about Brentford. 4-3-3, as we said, that's now the new thing. Interesting. I've had a few people at work. How are Spurs lining up? It's like, come on now, this is it. This is it now. This is the 4-3-3 with. Well, I'll go through the team. Vicario in goal, back four, as always, picks itself. Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, and Udogi, Maddison, Kulu, and who played midfield? Bentancur. Talk about him actually in a minute. And
I know how happy his performance made you.
Oh, I love him. I just love him. And then
also instrumental for the winning goal against Coventry.
Yes, we did mention that.
Brilliant for the winning goal.
He struggled in that game, but he was brilliant. He was brilliant.
Yeah. And then Johnson, Solanke, and Son. Basuma was back on the bench. Bentancur, I thought this hearing was last week.
When is the hearing?
Now, this week, apparently, we're going to find out before United.
Old Trafford.
Lily White-Rose, former friend of the show, probably still a friend of the show, but we don't hear from him anymore, said he could get 12 games.
But if he gets 12 games and Enzo Fernandez gets none, I'm sorry.
But Enzo Fernandez has got off on a technicality.
I'm sorry.
I mean, the whole thing is madness. That the reason that Spurs were in trouble for Bentancur is because Bentancur was still officially, even though in Uruguay and nothing to do with us, officially hadn't yet started the international or wasn't yet with the international setup, whereas Enzo Fernandez was. So because Bentancur wasn't, he still falls under the.
He was in Uruguay when it happened. He's currently on a ban. Yeah. He could be the first player ever to be in two bans at the same time. And also, if he gets a ban, does the international games count?
What do you mean? No, the international ban is separate.
Yeah. If he didn't have an international ban, would this current ban he's going to get?
It's a Premier League ban.
No, you can play in Europe.
What, in the Europa League?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I was hoping the Europa League counted. He could potentially be out until January.
In the Prem, yeah.
Yeah.
Can he play in the League Cup?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can play in
the
league.
At least he can play in
the League Cup. Can't play in the FA Cup. But then that's not until January anyway.
Oh
my God, I didn't realise that. I thought if he gets a 6-7 game ban, okay, 3 or 4 will be in Europe, will be all right.
I say yes to the League Cup. It'll probably be a domestic ban.
Oh my God,
so he would therefore be out of the League Cup. It'll be a domestic ban.
He's basically our Thursday night number 6 until January.
Which is great. And that's great that we've got the Europa League. Because the thing about Bentancur, every time he starts to get back, he either gets injured or he gets suspended. Or
at least there's so many Europa League games that he'll still have a bit of rhythm.
Yeah.
We'll have quite a few games. It's not like he's going to, we've got Europa League next week as well, right?
Yeah.
So at least there's a decent
Is it straight away the Europa League?
Yeah. It's back to back.
Yeah,
we've got the Hungarian team away.
Yeah, 5:45 kickoff.
Your pronunciation will be better.
Ferencvaros.
That's the one.
There you go. Okay. Not the best start.
Can I just say?
Oh, yes, you can.
So, watching it on the box, right? Put it on. It slightly. The game starts, froze, then it unfreezes.
0-1.
And Buemo's celebrating. We've all been there.
We've all been there.
We've all been there.
Well, I missed John Stones' equaliser yesterday because I've been watching the whole second half, and then suddenly I moved. I just literally just shuffled over and I sat my big arse on the remote, and it came out of change channel.
But that's a great one to get, isn't it?
Yeah, I was delighted to come back to 2-2.
So anyway, I saw Kulu stupidly give away the ball. I don't really know what he was doing. He sort of dilly-dallied on it, and then it was the start of a game touch, and then I was like, oh, great, just what we needed.
I sort of have the view on that goal that is the first goal that we've conceded in the league this season that I could say. Good goal wasn't really an error.
Van der Ven should have got closer to him. But you can say that about any goal. He should have. No, you can say that. I want
to have this debate, right? Because in my view, if you are a centre-back, you're expecting the ball to come in front of the man for the header, right? And if it's coming in front of the man, then his starting position is coming this way, and he's, it's a 50-50, and he's probably winning it, right? So I was thinking about it. I don't have a problem with his starting position, but the ball was behind the man, and he just unbelievable finish.
I would love to sign him.
Good player.
He is
Well,
absolutely
Nathan
class.
Caton last week was like, now that Tony's
is
gone,
quality.
you're all going to see how good these two are.
He
Very
is
good player.
quality.
Very good player.
Really good
Absolutely
player.
magical left foot.
Yeah, he won't be there much longer, I suspect. They're the second team in Premier League history to score in consecutive games in the first minute.
Was the goal against us quicker than the one against City?
Both 23 seconds.
Both the same.
I think, yeah.
They got West Ham next, so hopefully it continues.
12 seconds.
Well, no, they can score 12 and 23 against West Ham.
That must be one of the earliest we've ever conceded, right? Can't remember us. City away, we did it. I remember that goal a few years back.
Ledley King
Jesus Navas.
Ledley King against
Navas.
Bradford was 18
Scored.
seconds.
No, that
It
was
quicker than that. We were there.
10 or 9.
We were
weren't
there.
13 seconds.
Was it 13?
I thought it was 10.
18. No, I think it was 18 because it got beaten by something that was like 16 seconds.
I think it was 10.
Do you know what the result of that game was?
3-3.
Yeah, well done. Very good.
I'm not that young.
I mean,
I'm
we
not
were
that
there.
young.
Do
We
you,
were there.
yeah, do you know who scored for them, I think, in injury time to make it 3-3?
Stuart McCall.
I think it was Benito Carbone,
Yeah, it
wasn't
was
it?
Carbone, yeah.
I think it was on Sky that game.
Okay,
Stuart
so,
McCall, by the way.
all right.
10 seconds,
Stuart
I'm
McCall,
saying,
by the way,
Ledley.
I mean, never played for Tottenham, but is an absolute hero. Do you know why? Have you seen that clip of him?
Yeah, being pissed
With
and falling
his,
off the
Yes,
car.
yeah.
falling off a car and he doesn't spill a drop. What a legend.
They've actually re-timed Visser's goal to 22 seconds, and the one against City was 23 seconds. Ledley King, 9.82 seconds.
9.82 seconds.
It was that
wow.
like horrible, like bouncy shot that just
Yeah.
sort of nestled in the corner.
9.82 seconds.
Right, so
what's the quickest?
Well, okay, so Shane Long quickest for Southampton against Watford, 7.69. Philip Billing for Bournemouth at Arsenal, 9.11.
That was last season.
When 2 seasons ago when Reece Nelson scored.
Yeah, it was the late goal.
Late one. We've got 2 of the first 5. What's the other one?
Do you know, that's so weird because I could tell you
Oh, I
Ledley
know what
King,
it
but
is.
Don't, wait, give me a minute.
I got it.
Give you a minute. It was
No, go on.
Phil Jones.
no.
For us.
Sorry, it was the same game. Ericsson.
Oh, of
Phil Jones
course.
scored an own goal in that game. It was at Wembley.
I was still
It was
queuing.
like 10 seconds.
10.54, and the one that splits Ledley
I
King.
meant Phil Jones' own goal.
Yeah, the one that splits King and Ericsson, Alan Shearer, Newcastle, Man City.
You know something? So much of what happened at Wembley, I just
Yeah, it was a
don't.
blur.
Yeah.
I remember that, but not much else.
I remember Burnley at home, weirdly, those amazing Champions League games.
Yeah. I
Real
remember
Madrid,
Harry
Dortmund.
Kane's header against
Yeah,
Arsenal,
that was
but
great.
so much of what happened at Wembley. I remember Liverpool 4-1.
Oh, yeah, that was
That
incredible.
was great. But there's so much of what happened at Wembley that just, I don't know, it just seems like a blip in time. It just didn't exist.
We are on the list. Jesus Navas, 13.76 seconds.
We
in
got beat 6 that day, didn't we?
2013-14, yeah. So under AVB.
He meant to cross that.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I agree.
Maybe.
He
I
definitely
didn't expect Jesus Navas to get a shout out, but I guess on the topic of early goals.
Okay.
So we went one down, and we responded amazingly. It was did it Ange say in his comments? It was like it didn't happen.
Felt like, it's a good,
It did.
felt
It felt
that.
like it didn't.
Yeah, because
We just immediately, got back on the front foot. Scored what? 7 minutes.
7 minutes later.
If you're a striker looking for your first goal for a club,
That's the way you want it.
that, I mean,
I said before.
I said you
kickoff,
either want that or a pen.
I said to the
One
guy
of
I
the
don't
next
know about a pen. That's pressure.
pressure. Yeah, I said to
Yeah,
the guy
but-
next to me, I hope Solanke just gets a tap in today.
Yeah,
It
he was
good.
very good.
Good player.
Solanke. He was very, very
was
good,
very
and I hope
good.
people are starting to see why we signed him and what he is. We spoke about Kulusevski and the fact that Kulusevski helps Maddison. I think Solanke will as well because we just didn't have anybody that could occupy centre backs. And the other thing that you're starting to see are crosses coming from deeper areas because we've now got a target. And what happens when you cross from deeper areas is defenders have to win it. And it comes back out to a Maddison on the edge of the box. He's suddenly got shooting. We haven't seen so much of that yet, but I guarantee you will.
Would you
I
like a
think
stat?
what I liked. Sorry to cut you short. I think what I really enjoyed about Solanke is not just he did the dirty work. He enjoyed it.
Yeah.
He really relished. Who's their
Pinnock.
big? Yeah, really. Was happy to get his body in and do the dirty work. And I'm sure I wasn't the only one thinking this is a bit like Harry Kane when he winning those cheap free kicks,
Yeah.
scoring a tap in.
Yeah.
we know he's not at that level, but there was so many, similarities to what Kane does, and we've just not had that. We've just not had that in last season.
He also, I don't know if I'm about to ruin your stat here, I hope not, but he also had, I think, the second highest number of presses for a forward in the Premier League.
Would you like a stat?
Go on.
On our Twitter, or my Twitter, I think, Dominic Solanke's 34 pressures in the final third yesterday were the second most of any forward in a Premier League match this season. Now, the one who's got the most is Yakuba Minter for Brighton against Man United. And he's more of like a winger.
When you say, you mean as in closing someone down?
Yeah, so I would actually say he's top because Minter's not a centre forward. He is way clear of any other centre forward in terms of pressures.
And he's not even fit yet.
Yeah.
He's not not fit. He's not 100% sharp.
He won the ball in the first half that the ref gave a free kick against.
Oh, that was never
That was
a
never
foul.
a
That was
Well, I've
never
not seen a
foul.
replay.
No,
It
that wasn't a foul. Seen it back.
Wasn't.
I know Richarlison ran around a lot,
But he runs around with purpose.
exactly. Solanke runs around with purpose.
He runs around thinking, I'm going to win the ball back here. And we will score a lot of goals like that first goal. I know it was Maddison, but I can see that. Scoring a lot of goals from...
The whole press, though, for that first goal was really, really good. What was interesting, watching the first goal back, the fullback gets the ball, and actually it's Kulusevski who presses the fullback. But if you watch it again, and I'm pretty sure, and I'm correct in saying this, as Kulusevski goes to press, he has a quick look over his shoulder, as if to say, come on, lads, I'm
come
pressing
with me.
it. Yeah, come with me.
yeah.
Like, he has a quick look over his shoulder, goes and presses.
Who does Kulu?
Kulu, yeah.
Look at it again, right? You watch him. He presses that fullback, and he has a little glance over his shoulder to make sure that Maddison's coming with him, right? And Maddison goes with him, and the fullback play. Okay, it's not a good ball. You'd say it's a mistake. I'd say it's a forced error.
Yeah, I agree.
right. I'd say it's a forced error that Maddison then jumps on. But
it
the
was
trigger, Kulu, I love it because. I've only seen it back the one time, but I'm almost certain I saw Kulusevski with a little glance over his shoulder. Come on, lads, we're going. I love that.
Yeah.
You have to press as a team. There's no point you pressing. I think at times you press. Richarlison, like we've said, just runs around. He'll press, and no one else is pressing, so it takes him out.
There's
of the
a
game.
difference between pressing and putting a bit of pressure on.
Yes.
Yeah.
We talk about Maddison.
I just want one other thing about Solanke, something we didn't do in the Arsenal game. The crowd was screaming out to when Vicario's got the ball, or Van der Ven, whoever's taking these stupid goal kicks, to go long. We didn't do it against Arsenal. Against Brentford, they must have watched the tapes or listened to us a lot. Go long to Solanke.
It's nice to have long ball forward, and know you've got a very good chance of
Nobody's
getting
going to
some.
mind, are they? Nobody's going to mind when needs must. Like Vicario in the second half should have gone long. When it went back to him, and he nearly it's the first half still. And he had that, they closed him down.
That was a mad incident.
But he had the opportunity to go.
That was a mad incident.
And he's got
Which
to
one?
learn.
It's the one where he got
In the
tackled.
first half.
These goalkeepers are robots now. It's like must not go long.
Do you know what? One thing I noticed, and I wanted to say this, and I don't know if anyone else would have picked up on it, but I've noticed this a few times, and I'm a massive Vicario fan, but he is so casual, considering he's not as good with his feet as someone like Edison. This has happened a few times where he lets the players get really, really, really close to him. And there's a few times in the last year where I thought, you're going to get tackled eventually. So when it happened, I wasn't surprised. Because as I say, I'm watching it on the telly, and I'm sure everyone in the stadium is screaming, just kick it.
Yeah.
When he gets really close to you, just punt it
get-
out
just
for a
get rid of
corner
it.
or throw
But I
it.
think that's part of it. They want to take players
But he
out of the game.
waited so long, it was almost like he did it on purpose. He just waited and waited and waited, and then went, oh yeah, you're actually at my feet here. You can have it.
But I do again. Like I wonder what the
was
instruction
mad.
is, because you said they're like robots and like must not go long, and it was almost like you could see it going through in his head, even as he was getting closed down. You could almost see in his head, "Where's my pass? Where's
But
my
he
pass?
didn't
Where's
want it
my
though.
pass?"
He didn't
It's a
want
ba-
that
he shouldn't
ball.
have- he shouldn't
didn't
have
want
So
it.
received
then,
it.
all the more
He
reason.
didn't want
all
it
the more
long.
reason.
No,
exactly.
I completely agree. But he didn't want it. He didn't look ready for
So
it.
get
He was-
rid.
get
No,
rid.
no,
Tell
I
Van
agree.
der Ven,
rid.
don't give it
Get
to
rid.
He
me.
was like overcomplicating. He was like, I have to see an option.
But then
or
exactly that, right? Especially if you didn't want it, receive the ball, put your laces
I
behind
agree.
it,
I
and then turn
completely-
around to Van der Ven and said, "Didn't want that, mate. Didn't
But
want
it's
that."
done
But
now.
reset.
Yeah.
But it is
I
done.
agree.
And look, the
He
good
actually
thing
did well. He did
He did
well
very
to
well
recover.
to
He sort of, spread himself and made
He's a good
himself
shot
big,
stopper.
and he
That's
did
never,
well.
That's
But
never
you're right.
been-
We've got the option of Solanke now, who's a tremendous ball winner up front. Like,
But
it's an-
regardless of that, just get it long, get it
Well,
away.
yeah.
But of course, we have also got that.
Yeah.
We'll come to Maddison. I want to talk a bit more in depth about Maddison. We had a chance in the first half. Jake, I meant to ask you, you might remember this. Was it Brentford last year where someone went 3-1-1, went round the goalkeeper and didn't score? Do you remember that? It was one of the lesser teams. It was Brentford or
I do
Bournemouth.
remember that.
It was exactly the same.
I think it was Crystal. No,
It
maybe
was Crystal Palace.
Was that Werner missed the shot? Yeah, it was.
Was it not Son?
No, it was both of them. It was both of them. It hit both posts.
That's right.
It hit both posts. Werner did a similar one.
Yeah.
I think we're all obviously massive Sun fans. It starts to become a bit of a concern when he's not shooting. Why is he not doing that? Because that's a worry. Because we've seen, ironically, in that Palace game as well, he did go through 1-on-1 and he scored.
Second half.
And there was the chance that he laid off for Brennan Johnson.
Same.
And was it you that, or someone that had a print screen of it and said, well, he might have been a bit far out, but that's irrelevant. For a confident son, he's not thinking about that. When he went round the keeper, I thought, that is really concerning.
You ever seen Son score a goal going round the keeper? Like, he shoots early. He's
it really
distance.
concerned me that he went round the keeper. I hope that that's not a sign of things to come and his confidence is good. Because, you saw against Everton, he sort of put that one away, but he never hesitates. He never really does.
If I remember it right, as Son's coming through, I think what he wanted was to take the touch to create the angle on his left, but he was aware of the fullback coming.
Which was the first chance or second chance?
The first one, I think it is. I think he was aware of I had it in my mind that I think he was aware of the fullback coming across. So he went that way, and then he never looked comfortable once he went that way.
But he normally just shoots early.
Yeah, but I mean, you think of the goal against Burnley, where he had no intention of going around the keeper. He just wanted to, he's done that great run, and then he just clips it round him. But he still came away with 2 assists.
Yep. I disagree with people's sentiments that he had a bad game. I don't think he had a bad game. Luton?
It was Luton.
They did what?
I can see it here. Sun's attempts.
Oh, what? He tried to get around the keeper?
To pull the North Londoners level, saw the Korean strike hit both posts.
Okay.
But he didn't have a bad game.
Didn't have a bad game. I think clouded by the fact he should have probably scored 1 or 2. But no, he didn't have a bad game. But all right. He sets up Johnson's goal. He had that shit all week before Coventry, disgusting. And I think it was Harry Scarf, friend of the show, said, because Johnson didn't celebrate against Coventry, and he sort of gave a half-hearted clap to the fans. I do not believe anyone who went to Coventry away, anyone who was in that ground on Saturday is giving him shit.
No match goers do that.
Correct.
No match goers do that.
No. Correct.
That is the sad thing as well, and I hope that players generally, and Brennan Johnson specifically, know that, because proper football fans, and I'm not just talking Tottenham, proper football fans, but especially Tottenham fans, we've all had players we've disliked over the years. Proper Tottenham fans were really, really, everyone wanted him to score on Saturday, more than anyone. Every single person in that ground. And singing that song was such a nice moment. Yeah. I thought it was such a nice moment. Social
media, unfortunately, is just a cesspit for children and man-children and repressed human beings and so on. Like, the point that you are abusing a footballer for missing chances or whatever, grow up.
I still don't think he's even been anywhere near as... I don't think anyone's... They've all been poor.
I'm not his biggest fan.
But they've all
been poor. I'm going to start abusing him on Instagram.
They've all been poor. Son's had a really slow start to the season.
Well, he's probably getting it too. I don't know.
Madison, as much of a big fan I am, hadn't been good in the last few games. Loads of them have been poor.
But there's a big difference between sitting here or sitting in the stand, calling out a player's performance. That's par for the course, right? Players are there to take. They have to take criticism when they're not playing well. But actually abusing a player on social media
but criticism and abuse is totally different, isn't it? We come on here and criticise players.
Absolutely.
That's what fans do.
Yeah, you're allowed an opinion. You're allowed to say he played badly, he didn't do well, he needs to improve in this area, he needs to do more. That's fine, but actually abusing somebody on social media to the point where they've got to close down their account is.
And do you know what?
vile.
I really like him. I want him. I want him to succeed so much.
So do I.
I really do. I see something there that I just do.
And that second goal is what we've been asking him to do.
I actually thought he did one before.
Right.
And, bit of it, not a tame shot, but, you want him to hit the target there. And then when he went through, I feel like he should have shot. He took that extra touch and I thought, you've gone too wide. And then amazing finish.
Gareth Bale
quality finish
on the other side.
Yes.
Like Inter
Milan. Yeah.
It was a great finish. Absolutely. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's the first... I don't want to say proper goal, but, most
Not
of his goals have been tapping.
Post.
That's the first,
Yeah,
shot you'd say that he's got.
Yeah, agree with that.
Okay, we know he should have scored the second, fine. But getting in them positions, I'm happy. You've got to be there to miss them. 2 goals in 2 games, and he's had quite a few chances. And, keep him in the team.
He's going to have to now because Kulu's central and Odegaard's injured.
I'd play him again on Thursday, if I'm honest. Play him an hour.
Yeah.
I would. Just keep his confidence up now. you know, good chance to get a few more goals against, you know, that sort of opposition.
I've got about Vicario. We've talked about Vicario.
Well, we haven't mentioned the second half.
Amazing
incident.
save.
Well,
Save.
go on about the second half saves.
Well, he was going to talk about the saves.
You were going to talk about the basketball.
Yeah.
That
Which
was
I think, for me, it's,
Okay.
it's a non-incident, right? I mean, it's just stupid. But actually, people going, oh, where's VAR?
Learn the rules.
Learn the rules.
Exactly.
You know which lot were out mouthing off on Saturday night.
Stop.
But yeah, it is a question of just learn the rules. The second touch that took it past Lewis Potter, I think it was in the box. And the third touch outside the
It was
box
incredible bit of
was-
goalkeeping.
What's
wasn't
the referee doing though? By the way,
Yeah, of course, right. It's a free kick and a yellow card all day long, right? But the third touch outside the box was not a goal scoring denying opportunity because the ball was past the striker.
Not only that, he was facing the wrong way. The centre forward. I can't remember. It wasn't Lewis Potter. Was it Yannet? I don't know
Whoever it was.
I think the concern from that is
was
above
Damsgaard.
the, you know, all the decision and whatever. He looks shaky from crosses, and I'm watching Arsenal yesterday, 98th minute, David Raya coming out for corners, and I'm just thinking that is a proper goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And I really rate Vicario.
Yeah.
And I'm not comparing him, but he just needs to he has to be better at that because we really need a keeper, especially when, you know, you're a goal up late in games. You really need your keeper to come and take the pressure off your defenders.
Well, David
And he
Hare
doesn't-
struggled. Maybe they can. He's still 27.
I still rate him. He makes an absolute storming save.
The header
An
from Sharda was
incredible save.
incredible. And
It was in. I thought it was in.
Yeah.
You know, to make that
And
save.
Bremo had a chance, which he saved well.
Which is what makes it annoying because
He's almost complete.
Vicario this season has been fine.
Yeah.
You know, all the goals we conceded, you know,
None of them were
tap-ins,
him.
Vardy, tap-in, you know. Okay, Gabriel, we know he should have done more for that. And obviously the goal on Saturday, you know, a great goal. And he's such a good shot stopper and he makes great saves. But I just hope that crossing
But is
thing
it
doesn't
becoming that
define him.
goalkeepers now? Shot stopping's now top of the list for goalkeepers.
But he saves us points, though. I don't just mean
Yeah.
standard shot stopping.
agree.
I mean, you
He
know,
does. He did on Saturday.
saves like on Saturday, which not all keepers would make. I just hope this whole crossing set piece kind of thing doesn't define him because it is a worry.
Is he better than Lloris?
Not at his
Or
best.
is he the same as Lloris?
Not at his best.
Attribute-wise, is he just the same?
I mean, look, I think the point at which you're comparing Vicario to Lloris, probably there's not such a big issue, right? Like,
I don't think it's a big issue.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, if we're sat here going Lloris at his best or Vicario, probably Lloris edges it. But at the same time, I don't think Vicario is a million miles behind Lloris at all. And he's much, you know, he's still young for a keeper.
I love him, though.
I love him.
Did you see that video doing the rounds of him celebrating the third goal?
Was he in there? I
just
looked
amazing,
up
like,
after
he just
celebrating with my
loves
son.
it.
I was like, what is Vicario
He's
doing
just
there?
like, he's just brilliant. I so want him to sort of iron that out because he's a brilliant keeper.
Yeah.
And I see a few people getting on his back. And I know he needs to do more from crosses. You know, that Nathan Ake goal was sort of massively got into his head.
Yeah.
And there's been so much noise about it. Did you see what happened yesterday on Instagram by any chance?
No.
Second Arsenal goal. Gabriel, corner, identical to our goal.
Yeah.
Vicario put an Instagram story up of the emoji.
What's that mean?
As in, like,
I'm not the only one.
No. As in, like, they didn't mention it. They didn't mention it. Gary Neville didn't mention.
No.
And
Right.
obviously he got hammered. Which, do you know what? I thought fair play
Yeah,
to you.
Yeah.
Fair,
I
but it
don't see
also
that,
means it's in
and
his
good.
head.
Yeah.
Well, no, but the problem is,
But I
Arsenal do
liked
this.
it in a way.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I actually watched that Gabriel goal back, and I don't hold Vicario accountable because, as much as people say, if the ball is coming in your 6-yard box, it's got to be keepers. When you've got 3 or 4 players around,
It's dangerous
you,
for a crowd, yeah.
yeah,
They
it's
are ridiculous
it's
as well, that
very
lot.
hard to do that. And actually, I think Spurs defenders need to be a bit cleverer and clear them out. We were always taught playing football. Somebody stood on the keeper. Somebody goes in and takes responsibility for getting them away from the keeper.
Did you see
right?
Gabriel's movement for the goal?
But do you know what?
It's
Do you know
incredible.
what?
But it was Martinelli's movement
I know
that was
we've
equally
seen,
good.
you know, your Stokes and whatever, but this is different. That Saka delivery and that, I mean,
They work on it
how do you
relentlessly.
defend that?
foul.
I know you can say the key. I mean, Gabriel's goal was literally 2 yards out. Both of them were, but they're hard to defend. They're absolute beasts, Arsenal,
but
with
they're
Rice
fouls.
and Saliba. And
Sorry, for me, Gabriel's pushed Romero 2
Yeah,
hands
but
on the
I
back.
think it's
You see
smart.
it,
It's
no,
smart.
you see it all the time. Goal kicks come booming over, and a defender will put 2 hands on a striker's back. Foul. Referees can't wait to give it. They cannot wait to give that foul. In the box, from a corner.
well, you
he's
could
put
say
2
the other
hands
way
on his
around.
back.
The striker puts 2 hands on a defender's back when they're attacking. And
You
they
see
give
it
it away.
all the time, right? Gabriel puts 2 hands on Romero's back. It's a foul. He's knocked him. I think Romero should be stronger, but it's a foul. Yesterday, Martinelli, and it's not that we're talking about Arsenal. This all ties into the Vicario conversation. We're not moving away from that. But Martinelli, he turns his back, right? He's making no effort to get the ball. He knows Ederson's backpedaling. He knows Ederson's backpedaling.
That's just that's. Do you know what? Yeah, but they're not going away. But that is the little advantages, and that's why they're so good at it.
But to me,
that is why they're so good at it.
It shouldn't be allowed.
And we need to be as smart as that.
We do need to smarten up, but anyway, enough talking about that.
But I think we need the defence needs to help Vicario. I think they need to create room for him, and if either teams are crowding the box a little bit, the 60-yard box, our defenders have got to be brave and challenge more, challenge better, know that you're going to get that nudge. In fact, do it to them, get that shoulder in there, but help him out a little bit. He's under pressure in a certain aspect of his game. Help him out a bit. Just
quickly back to Solanke and set pieces. He will help from set pieces because he's bigger.
We did already. He did that one right at the end of the first half.
Brilliant header.
Yeah, but just he don't even know if he marks anyone. I think he's sort of
marking
that space where Kane used to be at the front post, and anything there,
Yeah. All right. Man of the match for me, James Maddison.
Brilliant.
Who I said on here would be my, the one I'll be poking all season. He was brilliant.
He wasn't just that he was brilliant. He played in that. Should I say arrogant? In that arrogant way where he knew he was better than everyone on that pitch.
Great, want to see that.
He did a run in the second half from the inside left, which was it was almost unfair. They couldn't get near him. And he did that so many times. He was so confident. The first goal, okay, it was a bit of a poor finish. He should have scored. Second goal, he plays a lovely ball in for Son. He played this lovely ball over the top for, I think it was Son on the left. And obviously a lovely goal. But it wasn't just that. They highlighted it on Match of the Day. Everything he did. And I think playing on that inside left position is where he's at his absolute best. I think, really, really good on the ball.
He was exceptional. I think Brentford played into our hands a hell of a lot. And I spoke last week about Arsenal and Newcastle, I felt, changing their natural game to handle us and sitting deep. And you saw it yesterday, Arsenal, people say, Spurs, I'm not looking forward to seeing us like horseshoe the ball around the box again. You saw City do it. When teams want to play like that, it's very, very hard. Brentford, and I said, teams adapt the way they play, because if they don't, they know we're going to destroy them. And I think Brentford were a bit naive, and because of the way they played, Maddison had a lot of room. He had spaces to run into. He had pockets to knock the ball into. He wasn't receiving the ball, looking up and seeing, 15 men. I know there's not 15 men, but he wasn't looking up and seeing a wall of men in front of him and trying to thread a pass. You know what I mean? Yeah. He had space to play in. So this goes back to sort of what I was saying last week. I think if teams want to play us in a football match, that's what's going to happen. And we should have been 4 or 5 up. We talk about Vicario's save and the fact they could have nicked a point.
Oh, we had loads of chances. Well, go back to our XG. Our XG of 3.52 was our second highest under Ange, behind beating Newcastle 4-1.
And the downside to this performance, I think other teams will look at this and go, that's not the way to play them. That just isn't the way to play them. So I think, we're going to see more teams playing much deeper. And that's when I want to see Maddison and Kulusevski. I think Maddison against teams that want to play football like that will always have a great game. Always. But when a team's going to drop in and put 10 men behind the ball, that's going to be the test for him.
It was a great win, great performance. We had a bit of a tete-a-tete, guys. Someone on our YouTube comments yesterday, thanks for watching this show so late, watched the Arsenal pod even yesterday, I think it was, and said, whilst I said we've lost 7 out of 11, someone made the point we lost to Newcastle twice, Arsenal twice, whatever it was. For me, that's not an excuse. But you can't just lose
every one of them.
You can't just throw those away. And Brentford had a lot of players out. They were bad because we made them bad. 100%. We were relentlessly in the press. I'm still not there to go, it's all fine. We've got United coming up. I'm not saying we have to go there and win, but we've got to start winning the big games. He's not beating West Ham coming up. He's not beating Chelsea. He's not beating Arsenal.
Well, the next 3 are United, Brighton and West Ham. Teams that we've not really done well against in the last few years. Brighton at home, maybe.
So hopefully this is the start of something. But we were good. And the press was relentless. Was there another... 61 touches in the box was the second most under Ange, after Leicester away, actually.
And I just want to raise a stat as well, because people accuse us a bit of, you got to run.
No, I've got this.
People accuse us of being open. Actually, we are, I think, 3rd top for XG against this season. so far. And when you think about the fact that a lot of XG against us will be from horrendous errors and nothing else.
Well, there was that one in the second half, wasn't there? That Mbeumo one. But apart from that, they didn't.
Exactly.
I know they had the header, but I agree.
Yeah, we haven't looked open. I don't think we've looked. We've looked solid for the most part from set pieces. We haven't been conceding those breaks as much. And this is what I was saying pre-Brentford, is that there was a lot of hysteria about the results, but I didn't think people were looking in depth enough at the performances and what was actually happening. I'm not saying that Brentford is now, we're there now, because I think teams are going to defend much deeper than Brentford did.
Yeah.
And I think, we still have our struggles, but the numbers behind what is actually happening looks to me different from how it did last season.
Yeah. Our XG against is 5.41, which is the 5th best. Only Villa Forest. Wow, Nuno. Villa Forest, Liverpool and City have a better XG against. Arsenal's is 6.4 and ours is 5.4.
Yeah, but I think Arsenal's is a little bit skewed because yesterday that second
none
half
of
was
those
about
chances
3.
were high XG.
Yeah, I know, but I
only
saw
conceded 1.0.
City's XG was like 2.8 yesterday.
No. The second half XG was 1.0 something.
Well, I thought City was high just because they had so many shots. And
those XGs are tiny.
Yeah, City's second half XG yesterday was like 1.0 something. So we're 5th highest XG in the league, right? Like, at the moment, I think pro rata our XG is about 1 a game.
City's was 2 yesterday in the second.
It's not that high.
Was it? I thought it was less.
It's because they had 28 shots. So even anyway, enough about them.
It might have shot up after their goal because their goal was a high XG.
And it was the shot before.
Yeah. So
yeah, you're probably right.
But the point is, our XG, regardless of other teams and what other teams are doing, our XG
It's a lot better.
generally, it's gone down to about 1 a game. Whereas
the
last
really
season,
frustrating thing as well is especially those 2 games that were absolute killers. Leicester created nothing apart from that one shot.
But that's a high XG chance.
And Newcastle created nothing as well.
Yeah, correct.
And even Arsenal, I don't know how high. How high would Gabriel's be? Pretty high.
But
because
then
it's a header from a couple.
But it's come from an error.
That's the frustrating thing. If you take them out,
that's the point
we're not
I made.
conceding
That's
a lot.
the exact point I'm making at the beginning, right? If Romero stays with Vardy and gets his head on it, it's a 0.
The team that had the probably highest XG against us was Coventry.
Yeah,
they had 2 or 3.
But this is what I'm saying. In the league, people say, "Oh, Spurs high line, Spurs are open, it's easy to score against us." The point I'm making, the point I have been making, is from the beginning of the season, it's looked different to me. We have looked more compact. We have looked more solid. I don't think, if you look up shots on target, I think we are very low down on shots on target.
Or faced,
However you want to look at it, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure.
As in, not shots on targets that we've had, shots
against us.
Yeah.
Shots against us, right? We're just not conceding these chances at the moment. And this is the point that I was making pre-Brentford. It just does look more solid. The results haven't reflected that. But I have felt that there have been subtle changes in formation, subtle changes in the way that we're playing. Kulusevski coming into that 8 looks very attacking, but actually it's pushed the fullbacks back a little bit, which has made us a bit more compact. And generally, I just think we look a lot more solid.
Okay,
so if we can break teams down a bit.
Shots on target face 17, only 5 teams fewer. Liverpool, Forest, Brighton, Villa, Man City.
There you go. Brighton's going to be an interesting.
Arsenal 26 and 9 more. Again, yesterday there was a lot of shots faced. All right, I know we've got Man United coming up. And we are not really going to talk about that now because we're doing a live show on Friday on the back of the Qarabag
It's a game that worries me. I'm not here on Friday. But it is a game that worries me. 1, at Old Trafford. 2, I just think they're a team. I say most teams will adapt the way they play against us. I don't think United will even adapt the way they play. They just sit naturally deep and look for the break, and they've got Fernandes to pick out Garnacho, Højlund and Rashford.
Højlund's been out.
No, he's on the bench the other day.
Was he?
Højlund will play.
Yeah, I didn't know whether he'd be back. He'll probably play Thursday night, will he?
Yeah, he was on the bench the other day.
Wednesday,
when you've got the quality of Fernandes and you've got a defence like
you say that, Fernandes has been shocking so far.
And well done.
He has been.
Ugarte to come in. They're actually perfectly set up to hurt us, so that would be a big test.
I'm not believing in that anymore.
What?
Talking about players and then they do things. I'm changing it.
No?
No, it's not happening.
Okay. Because?
Just changing my mindset. Bruno's going to get sent off and score 3 own goals.
Fine. I'll be here for it. Right, we'll talk about Man United, as I say, live show on Friday, so do listen out for that. We'll make it into you don't have to listen live. It will go out as a normal pod for you on Friday. But very quickly, Qarabag on Thursday night. Put them away.
So Europa League, isn't it?
So do you want me to give some in-depth analysis on Qarabag?
You don't know it.
Oh, I've got no clue. But I'm looking forward to going. definitely looking forward to going, and Europa. European football under the lights. What's not to like?
Will it be a big crowd, do you reckon?
Well, we didn't mention this. I've wrote it here. We haven't had a home League Cup tie at the stadium, the new stadium. We haven't played.
We
at
haven't
home.
had a Europa League game with
We haven't
fans. I don't think. Or maybe we had we had a few fans, didn't we? In one game, around when we played Arsenal, when we had a few thousand, it was around then. I think it was.
I went to something. Was it a Champions League qualifier with my son on a
Royal
Thursday
Antwerp,
night? Portuguese team.
Are we going to play a much weakened team?
I think we sort of have to play a strongish.
Not against
get off.
Qarabag.
No. But like
It was Conference League against Pacos. That was in the stadium.
attacking players, we got no choice. I think I'd start Solanke and Johnson and Werner.
Well, this
as
is
the
why
front three.
Richarlison being non-existent is a pain in the
I think
arse.
the front four for me would be Johnson, Solanke, Werner, and Bergvall, Bissouma, and
No, Bentancur will play. Because if he can't play against United.
yeah, but Bissouma's got to play as well. Bissouma's been out for
I'll just give Bissouma half an hour. Play Archie Gray.
Yeah.
Play Spence.
Score predictions.
Play Spence. You can't.
Oh shoot! Yeah,
Just talked about
that. Yeah, you
Score
can't.
predictions. We've never done a Europa League prediction.
All right. For the first time on the Neck of Glory, Europa League predictions. I'll go last. Go on.
4-0.
3-0. I was going to say 3.
I got 4-0.
Clean sheet.
You know they're not very good when we're predicting clean sheets.
They are top of the Azeri League.
Who's second?
Neftchi.
Is that actually real?
Yeah. Qarabag have won 10 of the last 11 titles, and the only team to stop
We've
them
played them before.
Yeah.
Son's first goal was against Qarabag.
was it
It was.
at the lane.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen. Positive stuff. I suspect we'll beat Qarabag, and as I say, we'll talk about Man United on Friday. We've got Ian Irvin coming on from the Man United perspective. He's always really good to listen to, so do tune in for that. Gary and Jake, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and up the Spurs.